Recording started.
Hey everybody, I want to welcome you to this week's May Checks It discussion group call here at Tactical Sovereignty. This is December 26th, 2021. Uh, I guess everybody is probably busy tonight with different festivities, hopefully family oriented. Um, and that kind of leads to something I wanted to bring up. It's weighed on me for a number of years actually. And tonight would be probably a perfect time for it. And it seems very often during religious holiday times, such as this, like Christmas, that, different things that we regularly have going on, say, for instance, like just this podcast alone, you'll see numbers sharply go down. And I hear, a lot of parents will say things like, well, we've got to do this or that. It's for the kids, it's for the children. They enjoy it, it's part of their youth, and basically because maybe it was part of our youth, so we feel it needs to be part of their youth as well. But then, we wonder why, as our offspring get older, get up into their teenage years, as they're starting to question things, they're starting to learn a lot more about life and things that are going on. And they've since learned that there, for instance, was no Santa Claus, there's no reindeer, and that kind of stuff. There's a seed inside them, inside their mind, inside their heart, that's telling them that, you know, mommy and daddy and grandma and grandpa and everybody around me kind of deceived me when I was a kid. And maybe they grow up thinking, well, it's just a kid thing or whatever, but it still kind of plants that seed of doubt inside their mind. And it's also going to help lead to them doubting other things that come along in life. And so, like I said, I hope that, people are busy. It's, with family oriented things, because if we really did care and really want, say, for instance, to make this a part of our offspring's life, what we'd be doing is really teaching them some real truths about how some things have come along. I was listening to somebody yesterday talking, and they were talking about the popularity of Christmas, and it's celebrated around the world. Everybody celebrates this every year. And I'm thinking, no, they don't. I mean, it's just an example, I believe, of the bubble people live in. And they believe that everybody else's bubble is just like the bubble that they are in, which really could not be further from the truth. Um, that saying that, people are the same wherever you go. No, that was probably only said by somebody who's never gone anywhere. Somebody who's probably never crossed the bridge on the north side of town, because, I hate to tell you, but people are very different. Now, we have some commonalities that run concurrent through us, but people are very different in different places you go. And especially if you're crossing borders or crossing bodies of water going into other countries, we have to realize that, for instance, mentioning crossing a body of water, people in that continent or in that nation have been very isolated by that body of water and very isolated by the things that kind of would influence them or surround them from neighboring countries, for instance. I think a really good example that I found of that in my life was that I was born on Michigan. And Michigan, it doesn't matter if you're born on the southern peninsula or the northern peninsula, you're born on a peninsula. And so as you get towards northern Michigan, you're getting less and less and less influence from people from other states. And so lifestyles change a little bit. Morality levels will tend to change as well. Unfortunately, the television has been used as a great stabilizer for that, trying to keep everybody thinking the same. That's just all part of the battle for the mind of men. and as we start seeing these things and learning these things and figuring out how we've been deceived on so many levels, one of the things that I think I laugh about the most is that we still hold some of our sacred cows. And no, 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 that wasn't a deception. No, that's pure. That's 100% gospel truth. And I don't use that word lightly because I'm really referring to their religions. And these religions, if they were brought up in a religion within their home and in their family, then they're going to hold very fast to that, whether it's Protestant or Catholicism or Hindu, whatever you may be. And that's understandable because that's just the way the mind works. It's the way the brain works. And when you've done something repeatedly for so long throughout your life, and you go along with the belief structure that is centered around it as well, and that's demonstrated as well throughout your life and in the family structure, you're going to be holding very tight to those things. And I saw somebody posted something today that said that real learning was doing the unlearning. And gosh, that couldn't be closer to the truth because that's what it really comes down to. If you're really learning, that means you're also unlearning some things. You're seeing some things that, maybe a year before you would have held very tightly onto. And you would have been kicking against the pricks, for instance, as Paul had said. And we need to realize that these things, these sacred cows, they need to be slaughtered. Our beliefs need to be shaken. Everybody's worrying about shaking the people around them and upsetting the people around them. You know what? That should be the least of your worries. If you want to know what the real great work is, the great work is you need to be going into yourself and you need to be rattling yourself. You need to be shaking some of your beliefs. You need to be slaughtering some of your sacred cows. Because until you do that, you've not really gotten into the deep process of growing and learning. That's really what growing is all about, and it's developing. And in developing, that means that not only does the body change as it develops and it grows older, but the mind develops. It grows, it changes. Um, it's able to start recognizing fallacies that it held true. When things that were extremely sacred, we're able to let go of and see how they were actually used against us and not for us. If people do any level of checking on things, I mean, today everybody's got the Great Oracle available to them, whatever their favorite search engine is. And you can go and start looking up many of these things. You can go and even say with people growing up through the 80s, 90s, and you see, for instance, even some of these big concerts that were put on, money raisers, um, Live Aid, things like that. And you can go and look them up and look at the founders of them and what happened with that money. And you're going to find on just about every one of them that it was corrupt. It was a corrupt scam from the start, bottom line. One of the things I think I've found in my life is that when you're looking at different, whether it's events, organizations, whatever the case may be, wherever you see the most amount of money being generated at, you're going to see the most amount of corruption. And I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if you're, say, looking at things from a governmental level, or if you're looking at your sacred cow, if you're looking at your church, if you're looking at your religion, if you're looking at the mega churches. The closer you look, you are going to start seeing more and more and more corruption. Man is fallible, bottom line. Uh, Forget even scripture. You're going to read the Corpus Hermeticum. Corpus Hermeticum, you read that, and it's like, oh my gosh, I think Paul might have been plagiarizing this book. Because it talks about the carnality of man. And at his core, it's very easy for deceit to grow there. Yeah, when we're looking at this carnal nature, one of the things that I think I had to laugh about the most was over the last election. People freaking out, claiming whether there was corruption, wasn't corruption, whatever the case may be. People freak out when they see corruption, and it's like, I don't know who you are placing all your beliefs in and who you're depending on so much. Whoever it is, it's man. You're looking at a carnal figure. So how are you so shocked when you're seeing the results of the carnal seed? I mean, it should be to be expected. In fact, you should be surprised to not find carnality happening, to find deception going on, to find lying going on or cheating, whatever the case may be. You go to who was called, America's favorite pastor or the pastor of America, the preacher of America, the great evangelist Billy Graham. Um, that was deceitful from the onset, even from the way he was created. You don't have to dig too far to find that he was a CIA asset. And when he told his son, I think his son, Franklin Graham, excuse me, was about 30 years old. He told his son, you need to shape up. Yeah, he was living kind of a wild life and that kind of thing. And Billy Graham told Franklin, hey, you got to shape up. You need to start looking at what you're going to do with your life and this and that. And according to Franklin Graham, that was when he was called into the ministry. And so, of course, Franklin ran right out and went to seminary. Oh, wait, no, he didn't go to seminary. He went to business school. He got called to the ministry, so he went to business school because that's what all these things are. They're all just big businesses. And a lot of people will say, well, not my church. I've seen it in the smallest of churches. I've seen just serious deceit go on. We can't have our blinders on, and we can't have all our faith wrapped up around one man, one building, one theology. You should have your own theology. If you don't have your own theology, you've not really gone into this great work. I think that's just one of the things I want people to think about right now, this time of year. This is just going to be a short call tonight. Unless anybody had anything they wanted to bring up, because I figured we wouldn't have a whole lot of people here. So I'll unmute everybody. If you've got something you wanted to ask about, talk about, whatever, feel free. Give me a chance to get a sip of water here. All right. Well, I guess not. That's fine. Like I said, I think if anything, seasons like this should really just be a time of introspection, and we should all really be seeking as to who we really are, where we're really from, and where we're really at, because there's been a great deal of deception in all of those things. And at the same time, I want to remind people, when you're looking into the different deceptions and the different things in your life and questioning things, don't just jump on the next shiny object that comes along and figure this must be the answer. I don't care if it's like a secure party creditor process or different things like that, or oh, everything's run by the postal code. Well, good. It's good to go in and research the stuff and look at it, but do it with an open eye. Look at it with a critical eye. Does it really make sense? Is this something that would be useful to everyone? Myself, when I looked at a lot of the different things, I found the only thing that would be useful to the single man or woman would be what they do, and not just some other shiny object that some other man or woman has come along and presented, because those things come and go. And in the meantime, it just keeps everybody chasing their tail. Hey guys, you have a good week. Love y'all. Until next week, Sunday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern. See ya.